On Facebook, we primarily try to reach your demographic.
Okay, so we're trying
The older, like that
the
generation.
sexy 55-year-old guy.
What?
Welcome to Cue the Mic.
Welcome to Cue the Mic, episode 15.
The Darren and Emma Show.
The Darren Show. Emma just produces.
Emma just produces.
Yeah.
Except for we're going to throw a little loop here. We're going to make Emma talk more today.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
We'll see what happens.
What else is going on before we get into the serious business of talking about the barbecue business?
We're not talking about the barbecue business.
We're talking about business in general.
Fair enough. Not much, honestly.
Not much?
Just living day by day. Oh, I'm going to see the Barbie movie today. I'm pretty excited. That's about it, though.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of excitement in my eyes there.
Didn't think so.
The Barbie
Maybe
movie.
some of our listeners are Barbie fans.
Yeah, they might be.
Maybe.
You have to be a Barbie fan if you're a Taylor Swift fan?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
That's good.
Yeah, that's about it for me.
I'm trying to think of what's happened since last time we talked.
Oh, you had a competition, I think, this week?
I did?
No, wait. No, you didn't. No, you had Henley's birthday. That's what it was.
I had Henley's birthday party. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Was the food any good?
Well, the food was great. But the food, I tell you, I'm going to, if I was sending message to my computer buddies and say, hey, is there any way you can hack into Pinterest and shut that site down? Haley, I love you to death if you listen, but brutal. We had a flower.
Pinterest.
We had a flower theme, and Henley's one.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to make things out of flowers, like fruits out of edible arrangements with flowers. And we made these really cool little chicken and waffles. And so I took like 2 chicken nuggets and put it on a stick and dredged it through homemade waffle batter and put them in the waffle iron. And then they stuck out of a pot with graham cracker crust, Teddy Graham chocolate in the bottom. So it looked like dirt. And then we had to make these little tarts that were made of flower shells that, pressed out. And then we had to do bacon roses, and we had to do 2 batches of those to get them look right. I had to bake them for like 2 hours each. So that took 4 hours. So 9.5 hours on Friday between getting the food ready and decorating. That didn't include the 2 hours shopping time the day before or the 2 hours of prep on Saturday morning. So I felt like I had 13 hours tied up in a birthday party. So I said, Haley, next year it's an ice cream social. And we're going to schedule it at 2:00 in the afternoon. We're not serving a big meal, and we're not going to do a big, and she probably had 150 hours worth of Cricut assembly with different flowers. I was just crazy. I'm like, whatever happened to just showing up and blowing out some candles, cake, open a few presents, and off we go?
Society.
Yeah, everything has to be a Pinterest. Everything has to be an Instagram post, right? It's all about that. Yeah, I'm out. For some, right, exactly. So anyway, and I was so happy that I canned my first jar of pickles last night.
Ooh.
And so I'm kind of on a canning mission. That's my new thing is I planted a little garden out back, just pots and planters and whatever. And I planted cucumbers in it because I eat like a jar of pickles, sometimes 2 jars a week of pickles. It's my snack. I like to, and a good snack, right? Beats a candy bar. And so a lot of times I'll eat breakfast and then I won't eat lunch. And then when I get home, I'm like starving. So before I get a chance to make dinner, I'll just grab some pickles. And so I eat the pickles and I drink the pickle juice. I figured, that's good for you. And so I'm like, what?
I'm not sure, 100% sure that's how that works. But
What?
just eating a jar of pickles is
What's wrong
good
with eating
for you.
about 3 or 4 or 5 pickles every day?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That just doesn't seem.
Rehydration.
Yeah.
Rehydration is the
I
key.
mean, yeah.
So anyway, I love pickles.
Yeah.
So my friend Dick up in Minnesota, he makes like the best pickles, but he
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't want to share his recipe. So I've had a few jars of his pickles and I saved back the pickle brine. So I see exactly what he puts into his pickles. And so,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I'm out researching all these websites trying to figure out because pickles are really cucumbers that I grew in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then like little gherkin ones, my favorite. But anyway, so you have to sterilize your jars and all this stuff. And then you make this brine. And it's really water, vinegar, salt, maybe a little tad of sugar. You make this brine, you boil it, you dump it over these pickles, and then you can them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, easy process, takes not very long at all. But the acidity levels in these recipes are like way off. Some's like a third cup vinegar to 2 cups water. Some's like 1 cup
Ooh.
to 8 gallons of water. It's just all over. And some of it's 50
Yeah.
50. And I can't figure out what I want to be. Well, the problem is these
Mm-hmm.
pickles really aren't good to try for 3 or 4 weeks. Well,
That's how long
I'm going
it
to have a
takes.
lot more pickles than I want a can. So I'm trying to figure out how do I get the recipe right
Mm-hmm.
to start.
Right.
So I'm struggling a little bit there, but I went through the entire process just with 1 jar last night to make sure it would work accordingly. I only made 1 little mistake, but I recovered, so it was fine. So the pickles sealed. The pickles are sitting on the counter, and I'm trying to figure out if I can wait very long to open them to say, is there any pickling flavor to this or not?
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's
So that's your new thing, pickles.
well, or canning.
Like candy.
I grew up in a canning world. Did you? Your mom probably didn't can. Your grandma probably canned a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think my
So
mom did.
yeah, right. So it's kind of an old tradition that's come back. And so my mom used to can meat and potatoes and tomato juice and just everything. We had a huge garden. So I grew up canning, and I really didn't pay attention. I just kind of helped. But now I'm really trying to get to the, I found an old grandma's recipe for dill pickles, and it asked for ingredients that are no longer available anymore. So it's like, then you got to figure out, okay, what's that mean?
Right.
Kind of fun.
I like pickles.
You like pickles? So what's wrong with
Yeah.
having a snack of pickles?
I don't know. Not on my diet.
Oh,
I just haven't had them in a while.
that's weird that they're not on your diet.
Cucumbers are. I have probably a cucumber a day. I love cucumbers.
So why would pickles not be on your diet?
It's
They're the
all
same
about,
thing.
well, you add a bunch of stuff, like you just said, the sugar, potentially.
No. Very little sugar, minuscule. It's really just salt and vinegar. Those have to be good for you when you're working out.
Do they have calories? Well, salt is, but does vinegar have calories?
No, pickles
No,
don't have
probably
any
could.
calories.
They're just not written down on a piece of paper saying, or my piece of paper.
Yeah, pickles don't have calories, and the sugar is just minuscule, very minuscule. I mean, you could make a bread and butter pickles, but anyway, we're not doing a pickle podcast here today.
I mean, we could. That'd be okay.
but we're not going to. We're going to talk about social media.
Yep.
And Emma is the social media gal, as I introduce her.
I try to be.
So as I talk to friends, and Luke Darnell actually gave me the idea, the old Luke Darnell, avid listener, Old Virginia Smoke
and
podcast,
former
Pitmaster
co-host.
podcast, former co-host, not guest, co-host.
Whatever.
That's a big sticky subject. But anyway, he says, hey, a lot of people need to know about social media and what to do and what not to do and whatever. And I'm like, hey, who better to ask than Emma? Because Emma does this full time. This is her, well, not her, it's pretty much, it's 75% or 80% of your job.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it would be good to review and think of it from a small business standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the different kinds of, it's almost like advertising, but it's not. And I'm a big no advertising guy. So if somebody says they want to start out and say, hey, did you ever notice there's a ceiling fan right above my head? If you're
Yeah.
watching this, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Now it's going to bug you.
That was a very like Randy Twyford squirrel
It
moment
was.
of you.
It was squirrel mode. So anyway, but so we've never advertised in the barbecue business. I think
Mm-mm.
advertising. I'm not a big believer in especially newspaper advertising or radio or TV
Mm-hmm.
advertising. I see some people do that. I'm not sure that's for. It maybe works for some people, but I think the best advertising you can ever do is word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
what contributes to that word of mouth is social media because,
Mm-hmm.
face it, social media rules our world today. Uh,
It
Unfortunately,
does.
but that's
Mm. It
social
does.
media makes the world. It's where we get all our news today. It's where we, keep up with what everybody's doing. It's our way of communication. It's why, if we would have said, "Hey, I would have 10 years ago, I would have a full-time social media." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" But that's the world we live in today. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so Emma does this, and I challenge Emma a lot
Yeah.
because Emma's been trained in this, and sometimes I don't believe in the training, right? But she's been trained on what to do and when to do it, and
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yes. Then no. I mean, yes and no. I don't know if you can necessarily like get a full training with social media because it's always adapting. I was just taught how to utilize tools and learn how to, kind of study what like study outcomes and things, I guess, if that makes sense. So kind of a
Um,
training, but like not necessarily like a I don't know. I don't know. I don't refer to it as like a training, I guess. I wasn't trained
well,
to
right, but
post. I was just kind of grew up in the generation, so I just have an idea.
right,
And then
and sometimes it's hard for you
yeah.
to it's hard for you to think about, well, because it's second nature. It's like wanting to talk
Yeah.
about competition barbecue with me. It's
Right.
like, it's just second nature. And you don't think about, hey, I'm a
Yeah.
dummy and I don't know anything about this. Right. And
Right.
so I think that's where we start and
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes, because you've got so many different platforms. Right.
Yeah. You do.
And
You
each
do.
one, I think you can give us insight into what they do, what you see they do. For instance, we'll start with Facebook, and I'm not sure which one's the highest, lowest. But if I say Facebook to you,
Yeah.
if I say let's post on Facebook, who are
Mhm.
you trying to reach on Facebook? What are you trying to do on
Um
Facebook?
on Facebook, we primarily try to reach your demographic.
Okay, so we're
The
trying to
older like that
the
generation.
sexy 55-year
Oh,
old
what the
guy.
what?
What the fuck did you?
I did not say. I mean, that's about
Oh,
what I said.
well, that's my
Uh,
demographic. No, what demographic? So,
no, I mean, so our demographic for Facebook, it's so they vary between each one of our businesses. Um, so I have to learn how to hit multiple different kinds of demographics. But let's use Smoky D's for
okay.
example. Smoky D's demographic is the about 55-year-old men um, that love barbecue um, and are old school. I feel like um, so. Yeah, I try to get things that or I try to post things that kind of uh, intrigue that group of people with a little bit of room for um, like a lot of moms and women in their 30s and 40s people that are kind of in charge of what are we going to have for dinner tonight. That's a pretty big one in the food industry for us,
Hmm.
between all platforms. Um, and yeah, just yeah, I don't know.
What
Does that
about
answer your question?
Well, yeah, a little bit. What
Yeah.
about grandma? Because grandma is either no technology or grandma's Facebook, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think grandma's the Instagram or the
Um,
whatever we'll talk about,
depends on
but
their grandmas.
it depends on the grandma.
But yeah.
But
Um,
I look at grandma.
it, yeah. Grandma, to an extent, I feel like in our analytics they're not as high. Um, but based off the information that I've received from Facebook. But but they're kind of, especially during Lent, they're more of our target audience with the fish and stuff and things like
So
that.
so grandmas, grandpas, they're looking for the Lenten special or maybe even the
Yeah, the
daily
fish.
special,
Yeah,
the hot roast beef and the hot turkey and that type
actually,
stuff.
yeah, I posted the fish today.
You did.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
was a little. Somebody posted a review about the fish the other day, and they didn't even post a review. They just posted a
is there a
photo,
picture? And
and
it looked
it
like
was
we
a
used
picture.
fish sticks.
It looks like we had two
Okay,
little fish
shoot,
sticks, but there was
yeah,
really
it's a
more
lot of
fish sticks sitting in
yeah,
front. But they didn't
yeah.
make it look like it was a lot of fish. They made it look like it was two
Well,
times. I'm like, well, put your fish on the sandwich.
well, I felt like it was. I know exactly which one you're looking at because I was waiting for a review to come in with that one, but I don't think I've seen it yet. Um, but yeah, it looked like we took like our actual fish and chips and just put it on a bun instead of the actual. Because don't we normally give them like like a actual?
No,
I don't know.
we actually changed that. So
Oh,
we actually do give them. We do cut up that cod
yeah.
a little bit, just so we can fry it faster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we
Okay,
can
then
get
that
it
makes
done. So
sense.
we're cutting it. So they're getting the same thing. They actually get a bigger
Yeah.
portion by doing that.
Right.
And there's a little bit more breading on it, but the portion's actually bigger. But it just helps us keep fry time down, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
drag down the fryer. That I'm stuck 4 minutes versus 2 minutes, and that's when you get to a Saturday night and you're doing a ton of menu items, fry time
Mm-hmm.
is everything in our business. So
Right.
anyway, so it was just kind of weird that, but so you're saying back to Facebook. So you got
Yeah.
my demographic. So we probably should be
I think we
hiring
need to post more. No,
girls in bikinis
not everything is sex driven. I don't know.
for a 55-year-old guy. It is.
I just well, not when you're in a family establishment that's also trying to hit other demographics.
Oh,
So
okay,
really,
okay.
what I should be
Carry
posting
on.
is more ribs and beers, which we are working on. But yeah, like the really hearty meats that you guys tend to like:
Right,
ribs, burn ends, brisket, and our bar.
and probably some content on how to make it at home. Right,
Yeah. Well, ideally, yeah.
because I mean
Because your
that's ultimately
demographic. Well, and
right.
that would widen our demographics a lot because barbecue is such a growing hobby. And like my brother's really into using his smoker and stuff, and he's, what is he, 23? So that would help widen our. That's why I've been trying to get you to do that kind of stuff and teach people how
Yeah.
to do it because we would reach more people because it's something that interests more, at least males specifically,
Well,
and females. But
I might just have to get a cameraman or a GoPro, and we can shoot
okay,
podcasts while I'm cooking.
yeah. Well, some people do that. They do recipes, which if you're willing to change, originally you said we will not be doing that. I think even on the podcast. But I feel like you've changed a lot of things you've said since we even started this anyway. So
I'm a very fluid guy.
very open to change. Very like
Very
set in your ways at the start, and then someone's like, "You should do this," and you're like, "You know what? You're right.
okay.
I should."
You're right. You're right. I should
But
have
if
a
Emma
microphone
says
in
it,
my face.
probably not. Yeah. If Emma
Okay.
says it, I don't believe her. But if anybody else says it, I will take that into
Oh, geez,
consideration.
you sound just like your mother.
Just checks
Okay.
out. Yeah. What else?
What would you? So is Facebook kind of king when it comes to the number of followers?
For us, yes.
for
That's
us.
not the case for
We're about,
everybody. We're
but
very Facebook heavy.
we're about 20,000 followers on Facebook,
Yep,
right?
we are at almost 21,000, which I'm thinking about actually doing a social media campaign just to really push us over the edge because I would like to see that number go up. And then for the other businesses, yeah, Facebook is our most common. I think it's because I'm not really quite sure because food Instagram and like food TikTok are so popular right now, but I think it's just because Facebook has such a large base and such a wide variety of users that we just have collected more followers that way.
Well, and I think we started with
Yeah.
Facebook when it first came out.
Yeah.
And so we've
For
been doing
Smoky
it
D
for
specifically. Yeah.
14, 15 years. I never knew anything different, right?
Yeah.
So,
But for our Instagrams and stuff, even now with like the Honorary Chicken, for example, we have almost 4,000 followers on the Honorary Chicken on Facebook, but we have I don't know. I don't even think we've hit 1,000 yet on Instagram. A couple hundred um on that.
so
So
let's talk about that. So
yeah.
what's number two? What's number two behind
Oh,
Facebook? Is it
it would
Instagram?
be Instagram. Instagram. Yep.
Okay,
Um,
so Instagram. Who are we trying to reach, or who are we reaching in the barbecue business?
Instagram. Well, in the barbecue business, it's a lot of a very similar demographic, a little bit younger because they're because more people use Instagram. But I think it's barbecue lovers on Instagram, less the moms and the old guys that are just looking for something to eat, but more of the people that are interested in barbecue. So ideally, our barbecue content would be much different on Instagram with like a sprinkle of the business stuff, but more of the competition stuff and the competition and cooking and kind of things similar to TikTok, which is our third. Well, actually, technically Twitter's our second for Smoky D's, but we don't tweet as much because I see it as a dying platform. So,
Interesting.
yes. Which
Interesting.
yeah.
So you see Twitter as a
Mhm.
dying platform.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're doing a really good job of staying in the headlines, but I don't see it being utilized as much as Instagram and Facebook. I do think a little bit of that is because they are trying to hold their own and not change too much and be like everybody else. So they don't have stories, they don't have reels or videos. And like you can post them, but they're not set up the same way. Like there's not a specific spot where you can just go watch a bunch of videos or click through a bunch of stories. They did have stories for a while, but it never stuck. I don't even think they even offer it anymore since it's changed. But there for a while they did have stories, and it just didn't hit the same because people were like, "Oh, now you're copying Instagram," and then all of a sudden they didn't use it. But then Facebook did the exact same thing, but because Facebook is owned by Instagram, it was okay. Or Facebook owns Instagram, it was okay. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, Twitter is just. I see it as a dumpster fire personally right now. I don't use it like I used to. I haven't in a couple of years, but especially now, I'm hardly ever on it. I see it as a chaotic mess.
See, I'm on
Uh,
Twitter. I'm on Twitter every day. I don't post a lot on Twitter,
yeah,
but in the and like we've talked about
yeah,
before, I like to play in the crypto world. And the
right.
crypto world is
Yeah,
not 100%,
but
95%. There's 5% that's on TikTok, but
yeah.
95% of all the things. So, and what I always say about Twitter is if there's a fire going on and I can see
Mm-hmm.
smoke rolling in the distance, I
Twitter
can go to
is
Twitter and figure out
yeah,
that's the
and
fastest. News
yeah,
travels the fastest on Twitter.
and I think I don't disagree with that comment. I do think that is correct. But I think for us specifically, like from a business standpoint, the kind of content you put on Twitter is not necessarily. That's not that we couldn't, but it's not necessarily the kind of content we post because most of the time businesses on Twitter just post, cheesy one-liners. They're not necessarily small businesses posting those kinds of things. Like you have Wendy's, for example, who just bully people.
Oh, that's
And it's
amazing too.
fun. Yeah,
How many
but
followers do
we
they
just
have?
don't. Actually, I have Twitter up, so let me look.
So it'd be interesting. Go to Wendy's Twitter,
Yeah.
right, and then
Yeah.
compare them to Culver's Twitter.
So
Okay.
Wendy's Twitter has 3.8 million followers.
Okay. Now go to Culver's because they're virtually in the same
Culver's
business.
Culver's has only um about 58,000.
I mean,
When just
so
and just the different kind of content they have. So example, Culver's posted an hour ago. Did you read or watch any news today?
right. What did Wendy's? Who did they pick on
And
today?
then Wendy's hasn't posted, and Wendy's posted on
See, it's good.
Sunday. Well, it's good because of what's going on in Twitter right now. But Wendy's posted on Sunday, this is his most expensive X yet. In um referring to Elon Musk and his CEO rebranding Twitter as X, which that's a whole thing right now too. And
Yeah.
the
She,
reason I've been on Twitter a little bit more is just to watch that, see how that plays out. But
yeah, and there's a rebranding, but Em and I were
yeah,
talking about earlier. She's like, yeah, they rebranded X, but
they
they
rebranded it
re-
to X,
they
but they
really
did a
didn't.
really half-assed rebrand. So they've only changed two things so far, and then announced like, "Hey, we're changing it to X." And they're like, so they changed the logo, but only after you log in, and it's like in the top left-hand corner, it's an X. And then they changed their name on Twitter to X, but their handle is still at Twitter, and it's still twitter.com, and everything on like their actual website is like about.com/twitter. Like it's not fully rebranded yet, so I see it as a very lazy attempt to just, I think it's kind of a publicity stunt, and it might even go back to just being Twitter, honestly. But um
Maybe Elon's
it's
pulling a
like,
Darren. Maybe Elon's
yeah,
pulling a Darren, right?
maybe
Hey, this
just
is a
kind
great
of,
idea. Let's
yeah.
do this. Oh shit, we
And
forgot to do this and
yeah,
this and this. But it seems to always
right.
work out, right?
Right, but everything is still so Twitter based. Like, you still make tweets. What are they going to call it when it's not Twitter anymore? You know, like, what are you going
Right.
to call that? Make an X?
I don't know.
Well,
Who?
gross.
Make an X.
No. And uh I did see there was one business that posted, who was it? I think I liked it this morning. Let me look. Yeah, Come and Go. Come and Go. Also a great Twitter account. Probably the only reason I ever get on Twitter is to go read
But
Come and Go
but but
stuff.
but but better at
Because
TikTok, in
yeah,
my opinion. But
really, I think their Twitter is strong. It's very Wendy like. They are bullies. They really play into their name a lot, and it's comical.
so what they say?
But they said yesterday, since X can't be trademarked, we will also be changing our name to X at Elon Musk. So it's just like one of those things where, yeah, they're just being Come and Go.
Well. So and I think that makes a good point. Is how do we come up with that content that's made Wendy's
Yeah.
and Come and
How do
Go
we?
successful in that
We
space? How do
need
we
quick
become
one-liners.
quick
You'd
one
have
liners?
Yeah, you'd have to just let me free, and let me post whatever literally pops up into my brain. And I don't know if we'd fully want that, to be
That
honest.
scares me a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens. Like, they tweeted last night.
How about I get the Twitter handle?
But then that scares me, because all of a sudden we're posting about cryptocurrencies at 8 p.m. at night, or whatever time at night, being like, "What do you guys think of this stuff?" And it's like, that's not. Except most of our Twitter followers, similar to our Instagram followers, are your friends. Like,
Right.
I think that's why our Facebook is so successful and like has such a big following, is because it was less personalized. Like, it kind of was personalized, but it was more of like a, this is our Smokey D stuff. As for like your Instagram and your Twitter, were a little less like that at the start,
Right.
and we're like, oh, these are Darren's pages, which now they are not. Now he is at go of barbecue.
Yeah.
But
Go to barbecue. Go to
yeah,
BBQ.
go to BBQ.
I'm just trying to. Everybody needs to go to TikTok and follow me, because I think, can't you, if you get to like
You haven't
700, can't you get to
you haven't
1,000
posted since
followers?
last summer.
I know. And guess what? I'm already at
Yeah,
750 followers. If
yeah.
I get to
Smokey D's
1,000,
hasn't posted in almost
if
a year
hey,
either.
if I
and
get to
we're
a
at over a
thousand,
thousand.
right? But if I
What?
get to 1,000, can I go live?
I don't know. I guess I
I
could look
think
because
I
Smokey D's is at like, I think Smokey D's is at almost 1,100, if not more. Because every time I open up our Smokey D's TikTok, we have more followers, and we post the least there just because I
Emma,
don't know why. Because we
Emma,
need you
Emma,
to do dancing
Emma,
videos.
Emma, you just ratted yourself out.
What? We don't post there as much because nobody
We
likes our stuff
haven't
unless it
we
is you.
haven't posted on TikTok in a year.
It's yeah, because it's not you. The last video
Who's
I tried to
who's in
make was
charge of
use
posting on TikTok, Emma?
you. Well, me, but of you.
I don't even have the password.
No, listen. Our most liked and viewed TikToks are the only ones with you in them. I tried to do a whole bunch of other stuff at the beginning and it just wasn't landing. I do have a TikTok in the works, but it's going to be a bartending one. We have almost 1,500 followers on TikTok. I don't believe that. You can go like our Cue the Mic or the Honor Chicken or the Crafty Mac. They all post more for
You know
sure.
it's funny about the TikTok, which and so we've kind
TikTok
of went
is
over to the
a
TikTok
wild.
world. It's crazy, but I'm addicted to these live breakfasts, and we maybe talked
Yeah,
about that
you
last time.
did.
These
You did
live
after
breakfast
you
chefs.
admitted you're a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. So maybe we need to. I don't know. You don't want to.
You need to live stream. That's how you get followers is live streams. I've
That's how you
learned.
get really.
I think that's how you kind of get traction and why everybody does it. That's also how you make.
Should, should we be live streaming the podcast, or is that no?
No, we don't want people
No,
to listen to it before it goes live. Because then what's the point of posting it? I mean, we could. No,
no.
I don't know. That feels like
I don't know.
that could go a lot of ways.
Okay, so
But
we talked about the Twitter, which Emma thinks
well,
is going away.
I don't think it's gonna
Elon.
fully going away. I just
I
don't
don't
think
think anything
it's
under Elon
hitting.
Musk control is going
Yeah,
away.
I
Okay,
just
the guy
don't
is
think it's
pretty
gonna
brilliant.
hold. Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna hold its integrity. And it like for our demo for, like I said, for a business, if you're gonna post funny one-liners, then by all means, Twitter is the place for you. We just don't. I just am not quite that quick-witted. I mean, I'm sure I could chat GPT some stuff, but um, I haven't.
No,
But I
I don't
think,
think we want to. I
yeah,
don't think we want to
I
chat GPT. I think we just want to.
yeah, and I'm sure sometimes if something comes to my head, I just because we're like a family, like a small local family-run restaurant that hasn't really developed a like we are rude to customers kind of vibe like some people have. Um, I don't think we can just start
Yeah,
harassing
but
people.
Wendy's. What's funny is Wendy's isn't rude to customers.
No,
Just
they
on their
just
Twitter.
yeah,
That's what's
right,
crazy about it.
right, and they're just
But
Wendy's marketing is insane for Twitter. I just
here we are. We're thinking.
yeah,
Here we are. We're
it's
talking about Wendy's, a
yeah,
hamburger place. You and I on our
yeah,
podcast. Why?
right.
Because they're
As
brilliant when it comes to reaching an
yeah,
audience and getting followers.
well, yeah,
Like
they
Come and Go.
just yeah,
I think
they
Come and
just
Go when they
post
first come out with their TikTok was amazing. Now I think it's getting a little diluted now, and they're not near as funny, but they still have some good content, but I don't think it's as strong as when it first came out.
yeah. It's just yeah. Maybe we do hit Twitter more. Our Twitter definitely is not our strongest platform. We're
Right.
definitely Facebook and Instagram heavy.
Okay,
But
so let's talk about Instagram.
Instagram,
Emma's
I can't
favorite.
decide if I can't decide. Well, can't decide if I love or hate that one. It's really
It's
it's
Emma's favorite.
it's Instagram is really interesting because it has, from a platform standpoint, it probably has the most ways to interact with followers because Facebook does have a lot, but most of them are copied off Instagram. In Instagram, like Instagram stories, I think are more successful than Facebook stories. I don't watch Facebook stories. I but I go through and watch everybody's Instagram stories, which I've been learning or been kind of researching and looking into kind of the best ways to utilize Instagram stories and even Facebook because I can technically post on both at the same time, but really primarily Instagram.
So is one an
Um,
Instagram story and one's a Facebook reel, right?
no, no.
Okay,
There's an
so
there's an Instagram reel and a Facebook reel. So reels were Instagram first. Um, Again, Facebook just kind of inherited it because Instagram is Facebook's
right.
baby. Um, so reels are the videos. So when I post, build videos for the Crafty Mac or for the Honorary Chicken, um, or any of our TikToks or something, because I always post our TikToks also to Instagram. They go in as reels, and then I share them, or then you can have them just automatically upload to Facebook as well. But reels are Instagram. They were Instagram's thing first, and then became Facebook's thing. So that's where you watch all the videos and stuff. Facebook has a little bit of a different kind of setup though, because you have reels, and then you also have like Facebook Watch, which is a mixture of reels and like actual just videos, so to speak.
Never heard of it.
It's one of the buttons on your screen, on your menu bar, like
Oh,
next to Facebook Marketplace.
ugh.
Um, and that's, yeah, Facebook's just a whole beast in itself. But Instagram, yeah, its reels or its videos, and then its stories are a completely different thing. Like obviously, when we share posts to store, like whenever I post an episode post for the Q the Mic, for example, I'll share it on my story. And you've done the same. So stories are,
Didn't know how to do it, but I'm sure I did it.
yeah, you've posted
Stories are
stories.
so
Stories are the little
for the
things at the
dummies.
top. Yep.
Okay,
When
stories are
you
the things
open,
at the top.
yep, when you open up Instagram, you have your feed, and you have at the top all those little bubbles are stories.
So
So
you have your
people,
post. Your feed
yep,
is your post. So if I'm just gonna
yep.
post something,
If you want
or
something to stay up long term, you post it to your feed.
if
And
you
that's where
story
there's
it, it
just
disappears after 24 hours.
24 hours. Yep. But you can save them as highlights to keep them in longer, which the honorary chicken, it's a very complicated
No wonder
situation.
this is a full time job.
Yeah, there's
You're
just a
making
lot
my
going
you're
on.
making my head spin.
I'm trying to dumb it down the best I can, but it's really hard, especially since I grew up with it. So like I've had an Instagram account since I was 12. Nah, a little bit older than that, 13 or 14. I've had a Facebook since I was 12. But
So
I've
who?
had them since, so I've been growing with Instagram. Like, so I grew up with it. I have had it for every stage of its life. So I have seen all of the updates gradually become what they are. But like if I was someone that was just, I don't have an Instagram, feel like I need to get an Instagram for whether it's my business or um, just for marketing myself or whatever it is, I could see it as being very overwhelming, because it is overwhelming. There's just a
So
lot
who?
going on.
So who are we reaching there?
Our Instagram is more of
Yeah.
our younger demographics. I mean, we do have a pretty good mixture. It's a lot harder to pull the analytics for our Instagram, um, just because, well, it's not that much harder. I just have to go into a different spot. Most of the time, our business suite only pulls so much of it. But it's a similar demographic for Smoky D specifically. Let's say it's a little bit of a rough one, because one of how you set it up, which is not like a knock on how you set it up. It's
I
just
knew this was
how
going
you.
to be my fault.
No, it's not. It's just a little bit different because it's all your buddies slash a lot of random fake spam accounts, or uh, or women that don't care about our barbecue, but they want us to see their profile because you followed everybody that followed us,
I did.
which is not ideal. And also a lot of accounts that you'd probably follow on your personal you followed, which doesn't really help us a whole lot. So I've gone through in the last 2 years and unfollowed quite a few, but not all of them. I unfollow them as I see them. Um,
Yeah, because I remember
but
the
yeah,
days when I was doing this, I would just go through and it's like, hey,
yeah,
I'm trying to gain traction in the market. Follow. I don't know who they were.
yeah,
Follow. Now I hardly follow anybody,
yeah. Unlike
but I'm still
my,
getting
yeah,
followers. So I was
yeah,
trying to get followers by following them, But
Yeah, no.
some of
We have
that
a
worked, but most
yeah.
of the time it didn't.
We have a big enough name that and we don't want just I mean we kind of do, but we don't just want followers to have followers necessarily because then we're reaching like our posts are getting posted to people's accounts that won't interact with them because they don't care. You know what I'm saying? So we want to post with intention, you know? Um and when you have some of these spam accounts that we follow, like our posts are showing up on their pages and not necessarily somebody else's because of how the algorithm works. Um, and don't ask me to explain that because I don't get it. I'm gonna be honest. It's a
Nobody ever
very
does.
confusing. I feel like it's always changing. It doesn't make any sense. It makes my job sometimes a little harder, but I try my best. But yeah, it's just one of those things of where our posts aren't necessarily always reaching the right people because it we have followers that don't care about our content. So, which isn't necessarily our fault. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbles because anybody can follow us.
Huh.
So it's just kind of like a double-edged sword.
Do you think we should be sharing? I have a lot of friends in the barbecue business that seem to share a lot of other barbecue joints stuff.
Yeah. Um I have been looking into that more. It we need to be and it's just a matter of me sitting down and like I because I know kind of who would be the right like with like Warehouse Barbecue, they follow us. They're really good at interacting with our stuff. I'm trying to get better about interacting with theirs because we have similar demographics. We have barbecue lovers
Well,
in Iowa
well, wait.
kind of thing.
Let me call Dusty first and see if we can get paid for that.
Okay, sorry. But it's it's just one of those things and like with like Luke's stuff, like I'll go if I see it, I'll go like it on the Smoky D's page just because they are barbecue people that um we want our stuff to also kind of show up on. But Instagram, yeah, we and I will own up to that. I need to be better about interacting with other people because that's how because like I go like you said, you like to read comments on like videos and stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if I can get our comments in there as well, people could be like, "Oh, what's Smoky D's barbecue?" Um,
Right, right.
and kind
Help
of get that
pick
involved.
pick up pick up a follower that way.
Yeah. So that is a thing that I am working on and doing more research on what's the best way to do it because I don't just want to post on, just anybody's necessarily
Right, right.
because I see it as a um well, it all comes back to like a couple weeks ago we talked about data. It all comes back to that, the analytics and how is it going to benefit us and that kind of stuff. I have to look at the numbers and not necessarily fully the numbers, but also do the research on am I going to reach people that are beneficial to us? Will they either come order from us? Will they? Because at the end of the day, the point of posting on socials isn't necessarily from a business standpoint is not necessarily to get likes, it's to get sales, which is kind of hard to,
That's the end game.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
ultimate end game is what
And
results in the sale.
and with the way and with us being like of a restaurant, I don't have the abilities to find out necessarily what sales we get from social media. So it's harder for me to kind of figure out what lands and what doesn't and like what drives our customers to us. But what I have noticed is that people like just and what we get the most likes on, the most engagements, and what seems to get more people's attention is um, seeing Darren's face. So
That makes
that's
Emma.
great.
That
It
makes
drives me absolutely
just
bonkers.
absolutely bonkers. She just has a fit. And
I
what we
don't.
mean is like
Yeah.
we'll make a competition post, right?
Yeah.
Because people like to follow our competitions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not always as good as I used to be, but especially when you win a barbecue contest,
Yeah.
and you post that, and, hey Emma, just throw this out there, and I mean it's
Yeah.
just crazy the amount of
Yeah.
likes and
Like
views,
we're
and
still getting likes and comments from the Oshkosh posts, and that's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's one that like those they'll linger, and with kind of how the algorithm sets up or is set up, it yeah things will show up in people's feeds days or weeks later, and so my numbers can still like change, which is a thing that I'm learning to kind of look at. And I think I need like you got to give if you post something and you're like I wonder how this actually did, you're going to need to give it more time to sit than you'd think. Like you because I feel like when I first started in this business, it was within the first 2 or 3 days you
Right.
were like how many likes did I get? But really with Smoky D specifically, I've learned that I need to wait like 1 or 2 weeks, and then that'll be more of my general. Not that we'll get like hundreds and hundreds of more likes within those
Right.
that week or
Right.
two, but I'll just get closer to an actual number. Because if we go back to that beef ribs post, if I would have only given it 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
it would have been, I mean, still one of our most liked posts, but it wouldn't have, to me, it wouldn't have been as successful as it actually ended up being. And I don't even know if that was a successful post. It just reached a lot of people, caused a
Reached
lot
a
of
lot of people,
arguments in our comments, caused,
which is
and
great.
yeah, comments are nice. That is how we reach other people because if somebody comments on something, it'll show up on if especially if they're their followers or their friends will see it on Facebook specifically. On Instagram, it's a little more curated to things that they think will best fit your needs, and that's kind of that's a bit of the problem with social media in itself too, is that people kind of curate their feeds to what they want, and then Instagram and Facebook specifically will take, and Twitter too, they will take it and then they will only show you things that they think you will also like, and try to like grow your like who you follow in a sense. They do that suggested for you kind of stuff.
Right.
And that can help us, but I have to pay a little bit more sometimes to get that stuff out there, which isn't necessarily bad. I don't think it's wrong to spend a couple, like I think I have a budget for how much I can spend on social media campaigns a month and ads and stuff, and I don't necessarily do it every month. I am right now. I have two going right now for the Crafty Mac and Honored Chicken because we haven't been getting as many followers recently, and I would like to see that number go up. So I have set some like week long ads um to just try to reach more people that necessarily don't see our stuff on a more regular basis, to gain their followings and things. But I have it set up it's in a very specific demographic, which is kind of the cool thing about Facebook and Instagram ads, is that I can set up the demographic. Uh, Instagram, I guess, is a little less controlled. Facebook is, you can have a very controlled group on who you like, your target audience. So I have one set up for like people in within 15 miles, I think 10 or 15 miles, that are within the age group of 18 to 65 plus, just because we want to reach the college kids that across the street, but also the grandparents whose grandkids are coming in, they don't want to cook, they want to get food, and also the families and stuff. So our demographic for like the honored chicken is very wide. Like our target audience is very wide because fried chicken is food for everybody. Um, but then I also have it
Ooh,
set
maybe
up so
there's
it's
a fried chicken. It's
yeah
food for
for
everybody.
yeah, there you go. Don't hey we're not gonna pay to trademark that, but that's our idea. Nobody take it. Um, and so I have it set up so yeah I can reach a wide demographic, but they or a wide age group, but they have to be within a specific radius. And then I also have it set up for some of them that are, they have liked other delivery services, or um, they have liked other fried chicken restaurants, and they have interacted with other local restaurants and small businesses and stuff. So that kind of shows up on their feed. Like, hey, we have
Wow.
seen that you like this stuff. We also fit in this very small category, so you should give us a try as well, kind of thing. Which is
So,
one of the
s-
cool things
s-
about social media, but also straining because I have to look at that stuff and
you
see.
have to balance all that stuff.
Yeah, Yeah.
So back to before we run out a lot of time here, but I
Yeah.
mean, good
Sorry,
stuff.
guys.
So no,
Hope
good
so.
stuff. But so now I'm a person, a guy,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, that I want to start my own barbecue business. Okay, because
Yeah.
that's a lot of our listeners. People want to start
Yeah.
their own barbecue business
Mm-hmm.
and social media. So I've
Yeah.
got I've got 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's probably more like five, but I got 15 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my biggest bang for the buck, and what should I do?
I think you should. If are you talking like to create the content and also post it, or are
Both.
you just
I got 15 minutes. I got
okay?
15 minutes.
So
Where do
I
I
think
spend my time?
I think you spend your time creating videos. That's something we're working on getting more of. Like Darren said, he likes to watch a lot of videos of food in motion. I also get a lot of those, and people like to see that. So they want to feel like they are like immersed in the experience. So make a video of you creating an order or building one of your specialty menu items, and then post it on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Post it everywhere. You want the same thing on all platforms. Maybe we'll get annoying for the people that follow all you
See,
on all three, but
I personally,
also,
I hate that.
yeah,
But
but
still,
it also gains new followers who haven't seen your content before. TikTok is a great place to probably reach the most people because it's such a popular platform and right now, and everybody's on it all the time. It's like I spent my time on it in the car or when I was sitting in a parking lot this morning. I spent probably 10 minutes just watching TikToks. So getting your build videos out there, that'll get a lot of traction. And then also posting on Instagram and Instagram Reels. But make sure you have it when you post on Instagram Reels, make sure you put an appealing part of it in your or like the cover photos. Cover photos I think are important because so when you post a video on, let's go to Instagram, you put a caption and then you can select a cover. The cover is what's going to show up in your Reels tab of your Instagram, but also on your like grid, your profile grid. Select a part that will be appealing to someone. So like let's say they don't necessarily see your video the first time, but they see your account off another post or off a comment. When they go to your page, you want to draw their attention to that little video, whatever. So then they can see your food in motion and be like, damn, that looks really good. I want to see how I can get this food. And then go from there. I think it's also really important, like we have link trees and stuff. Make sure you have ways for people to find out how to order your food, where to order your food, where to go, like where you're located and stuff. Like, give them other ways to reach you or to find you so that it's not just I follow this Instagram page that makes really good food. It's I follow this Instagram page and I also know where I can go order their food when I want it or where to go if like I'm in that area or
or
even
I can call my
yeah,
friend that lives in that area and say,
yeah,
"Hey,
and be
have
like,
you ever
hey,
heard of
go
this
check
place?"
this. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than a poster
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't tell me where you're at.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I mean,
yeah.
no, and sometimes you
And
can't even find it. So
yeah. And with Reels and TikToks and and Facebook and everything, you can post your location. Get your restaurant verified as a location. It's not very hard. I think you can just set it up on Instagram or on Facebook individually. You don't even have to be like Google verified necessarily. But say, hey, this is the address for my business. And then when they put it in their feed, use it all the time. So, like, I'll tag our videos as the Ornery Chicken in Ankeny, Iowa, just because they'll also pop up on people's feeds for in the area. Or if somebody like uses or searches up Ankeny, Iowa looking for something else, our video will pop up. So, you just want to make it so that your content is reachable at like all points. And I like to do it because I'm such an avid social media user. Um, I like to kind of think of it as if I was doing my mindless scrolling, kind of what my thought process would be and how would I how would I react to one, the video, and then two, what would all of my interactions be with it from then on? You know, if that makes any
Yep.
sense.
Well, okay. So one last
Yeah,
question.
hopefully. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
No,
know.
this will be one last question.
Okay.
Hashtags. Yes or no?
Okay. Hashtags, yes, on Instagram. Especially I've noticed with the podcast specifically, that has been really beneficial for us. I mean, just to get comments and like we show up on people's feeds. Now, are they necessarily all going to listen? No, but they see us. So I think hashtags on Instagram and Twitter, because Twitter originally made hashtags, but you don't want to go. We go pretty heavy for like the honorary chicken and the crafty mac because we're still growing. The podcast, I don't use quite as many because we're so vast. Like I want to reach more. I want to reach more people, but also like within a certain amount of demographics, so to speak, I guess. But like for the honored chicken, I want it to be very specific, but also kind of vast at the same time. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So like,
Well, yeah, but so tell me
so,
once
yeah,
again. Once again, I'm a newbie,
yeah,
right?
okay, yeah.
Okay.
So for like the
So
honored chicken,
so I've got a chicken restaurant in Ankeny,
yep,
Iowa.
yep.
What
So the
hashtag?
hash,
Where do I find what am I using for hashtags and how am I coming up
okay.
with those?
So coming up with them, it's kind of there's there's I think the best way to come up with hashtags is to kind of have an idea of what relates to the post. So like when I post our chicken wings, so I will hashtag the honorary chicken specifically. So if someone clicks on that hashtag, they can see all of our posts.
Okay.
Um, so hashtag your business. I also hashtag chicken, chicken wings, and fried and I don't know, and common wings sayings. So like if I post on a Wednesday, I hashtag Wings Wednesday. Um, and then I also hashtag Ankeny, Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, Iowa foodies, deliveries, curbside pickup. But the cool thing about Instagram is like if you start a hashtag, you can see how many posts are in that hashtag. You wouldn't think this is the one you want to use, but use the one with the most posts in it because that means more people are using it, which means it's popping up on more people's feeds.
Yeah,
And it also,
because
yeah,
you can
and you can
follow
follow
a
hashtags.
hashtag.
Yeah, so like we
I learned
follow
that.
hashtag barbecue and hashtag business, which can go a lot of ways, and might be a little too vast sometimes. And then like for the podcast, I follow hashtag podcast just to kind of get an idea of what other people are doing and that kind of stuff. So hashtags are beneficial on the platforms that utilize them. Facebook does not utilize hashtags, so don't waste character. Even though you have pretty much unlimited characters on Facebook, just don't waste the space because no one's gonna really hit see more if they don't have to. If it's just gonna be hashtags, because they don't do as much for Facebook
Huh.
from
Interesting.
what I have noticed.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if
Very informative, and I
was it.
just wanted everybody to know that Emma did have a voice
Yeah,
and she could talk.
yeah,
And she
yep.
knows her shit when it comes to social media.
I hope so. I would like to also point out that everybody's is kind of different. So like just kind of figure out what works for you and roll with it. And a big thing is to also be consistent. I feel like I didn't say that, but it like in life, it is also pretty crucial for social media.
But when you want to get some traction, just post a picture
Yeah.
of Darren.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right? Works for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Maybe not for everybody, but post a picture of your business from an end that is a little bit more organic. Some people will say that they don't want to see the
And
organic
right.
content, but they do. They want it
And
mixed in.
that's like our podcast, right? Very
Yeah.
organic. We practice zero. I told her an idea yesterday, and I said, "Hey, I'll come up with some questions I'm going to ask you." And we get
He
ready
did
to
not.
start before we hit record, and she goes, "You got your questions?" Like, nope, I don't,
But I made
because
notes
it's
just in case.
so much more organic if you do. And I think people like to see the behind the scenes. It's okay to kind of let them peek underneath the covers.
Yeah.
right?
I've
Just when
learned
it
that
comes
as
to
well.
social media, just kind of let them peek
Yeah.
underneath the covers a little bit. You don't have to show them
Yeah.
everything, but let them peek underneath the covers. And I think that's intriguing to people.
Yeah.
That and maybe we should work on that a little bit with the smokers and the rolling and
Yeah.
whatever, and just so people can see the massive size of our operation because those smokers are
Yeah.
rolling 24/7. It's just how do we stay ahead of it? So
Mhm. Yeah. Yep.
okay,
Yeah.
anything else?
Yeah, I think that's all my tips. Yeah, just be consistent. I be aware that it is a lot of trial and error. I'll
Right.
have a lot of posts that, and also don't be afraid to repost things has been a thing that, especially recently, I've researched and seen a lot of positive feedback because, kind of like I said with the algorithm, it might not show up on the person's page the first time, but it could the second. So maybe don't post the same three things in a row, but sprinkle it in every couple of weeks, especially if you're trying to get a specific message across,
So I just
and
had
things
an
like that.
idea that picture I took of that review that said ribs were horrible 5-star. Right, the one you saw that picture. I saw we
Yeah.
had
Oh.
somebody leave us a review.
Oh.
Ribs were
Was it
horrible, five
this?
stars, right?
Oh. Yeah.
We're gonna go post that on Twitter this afternoon.
Yeah. We could see what happens. I mean,
Okay,
all your
because I want
friends
to
will
get I
like
want to
it.
get made into a T-shirt too. So anyway, I gotta go.
Okay. Yeah.
I got
Well,
things to
that was
do.
episode 15 of Cue the Mic, guys.
Okay,
I hope you learned something.
me too. Like, follow, whatever Emma says to do, just do it.
We just switched roles completely. That was weird. Like,
I
follow,
know.
subscribe on YouTube if that's where you listen. We're at about 74. I'd like to get it 100. We're at over 100 followers on Instagram. That's thrilling. Um,
We
but
need
I'd like
that
to
to
keep
be
that
in the
number going up.
thousands.
Well, if we got 1,000 listeners, that would be great. But we're sitting at a couple hundred, so
Okay,
if
well,
you listen to us, follow us because why not? You're going to be seeing a lot more of this. You're going to be seeing a lot of stories on Instagram, so be sure to check those out, especially of clips and things.
okay,
And yeah,
sounds good. Good
anyway,
stuff.
yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Until next time, we're out.
We're out. Bye.
Bye.